Tony Hinchcliffe's new Netflix special Man of the People arrives at a very strange time. Tony is already in the middle of a wider comedy argument. The Kevin Hart roast backlash put him back in the headlines. Comedians like Godfrey, Wanda Sykes, and Chelsea Handler have been criticizing the racial jokes, and Netflix still released his special anyway. The Daily Beast even described Netflix as doubling down on Tony while the backlash around him was still fresh. So going into this special, the question was obvious. Is Tony going to prove his critics wrong, or is he just going to do exactly what people already expect him to do? The special opens with Tony addressing the long-running jokes and rumors about him being gay.
Just got my first gun. Fuck yeah. It's like having a second dick. I know, because the first thing I did when I got it home is I put it in my mouth.
So, as I'm sure most of you guys are aware, but those of you who are into Kill Tony Law, Tony Hinchcliffe, we all know a lot of people over the years have accused Tony Hinchcliffe of being gay, essentially. You know, because of the way he looks, because of the way he sounds. Let's be honest, Tony Hinchcliffe is not the most masculine of individuals. I'm not coming from a place of disrespect. I'm just stating the obvious. A lot of people have said this over the years, so he's playing into that. Funny joke, nice little callback.
For Kill Tony fans, this probably works because it's been part of the Tony mythology for years. People joke about his voice, his clothes, his mannerisms, his stage presence, the whole thing. So there is something funny about him finally leaning into it directly, and I did find some of it funny. But it also went on a little longer than I would have liked.
You think you're straighter than me? Well, if you do, I challenge you to a suck-off. Yeah.
Oh, wow, this is mind-blowingly gay. It's mind-blowingly.
I'm sure hardcore fans loved it because they already know the running joke, but for a normal viewer, it might feel like, all right, we get it. Then the special moves into the thing Tony is most known for now, race. Throughout the special, there is an Asian guy sitting right near the front who barely laughs. At first, I thought maybe he was just uncomfortable. But after a while, I started wondering if he was planted there on purpose, or at least intentionally placed in Tony's line of fire.
Can you give a tortilla to this malnutrition guy sitting next to you right here? You look hungry, sir. You're an angry little school shooter, ain't ya? Wow, there you go. Yeah, okay. I love it. It's good to meet a YouTube commenter out in real life. Look at your sad existence right now. I love it. Hell yeah, buddy. Sure am glad you're here in the front row. Are you eternally furious? Is that what's wrong? No, you're a happy guy. Okay, all right. Woo! Hell yeah. This is my kind of fucking party.
See, this Asian guy was like, geez, what am I doing here? His girlfriend probably invited him there. Tony Hinchcliffe had a little rift with this Asian comedian. I believe he was like East Asian. If I remember correctly, while the comedian was performing during Kill Tony, or maybe it wasn't Kill Tony, it might have been another comedy show, but while he was performing, after he performed actually, Tony made a lot of comments kind of disrespecting his accent, disrespecting his culture, where he's from and everything, and that caused a big brouhaha. The guy basically tried to kind of out Tony and tried to, you know, he ran to the media and basically explained what Tony Hinchcliffe did. There was a video and everything. I can't remember his name exactly, but yeah, this Asian guy tried to essentially take down Tony Hinchcliffe. Tony Hinchcliffe managed to bounce back. Even if you don't like Tony, you know, the fact of the matter is he does seem to have this undeniable presence, this undeniable ambition, I guess. You know, he knows how to keep people talking. He knows how to bring an audience towards him regardless of the controversy. People are still gonna watch him. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, with the Kevin Hart roast, with these jokes, it just doesn't really matter. You can't really take him down. He's been backed by Netflix. Netflix is $1 billion corporation. One day, most likely, it will be $1 trillion corporation. I mean, if you're being backed by corporations, You know, you can't take him down. He is the institution at this point.
You guys have a good view of that guy's face. That is fucking incredible. Hopefully there's metal detectors in this bitch.
The image of him telling racial jokes while an Asian guy refuses to laugh almost feels too perfect. Maybe it was real, maybe it wasn't, but either way, it becomes one of the most interesting parts of the special. Tony makes a few racial jokes that, to me, felt fairly lackluster. Then he basically argues that he can't be racist because he has put all kinds of people on Kill Tony.
People have called me a racist and a this and a that. Meanwhile, nobody in my industry helps more people of color, Latinos, or trans people.
Just because you're helping out all these different races and all these different specific people, does that mean that you now have, you know, carte blanche and, you know, consent to say whatever you want in regards to these races? In the past, I've heard of a few different individuals who subscribe to white nationalist parties and whatnot. And then, you know, you come to find out, oh, they've been banging a few black women on the side. This is known. This is absolutely known. You know, people do it all the time. Just look at the transatlantic slave trade. Look at the history of America, man. You know, you talk about racial miscegenation. The fact of the matter is the slave masters were their slaves. And I'm pretty sure these slave masters didn't give a shit about these people. What I will say is that I do respect Tony for giving all these black individuals opportunities. David Lucas came on to Kill Tony. His career exploded. He's doing really well. He's been in a couple of films. Diedrich Flynn, I believe. I may have got his name wrong, but Diedrich is doing pretty well. Some of the fans hate him, but he's doing well consistently, booking shows, he's getting money. And of course, the biggest one, I believe, is Cam Patterson, young black dude, appeared on Kill Tony multiple times. People loved him. He was making some good money through Kill Tony and the opportunities that show provided. And then, out of nowhere, SNL. He books SNL. To me, that's like one of the greatest stories I've ever heard in my life. And Tony Hinchcliffe did provide that opportunity. So you can't even take anything away from Tony for doing that. That's a beautiful thing. But again, you know, and maybe this is just an open question. If you're the type of person who allows people onto your platform, different races, different cultures, black people, Asians, trans, does that suddenly mean now you can make racial jokes about them or racist jokes about these same people or trans jokes about these same people? That's a question for you guys, because for me personally, I don't think that suddenly gives you, you know, the right to do that. I just don't think. I don't really think so. It depends on the context. It really depends on the context. And, you know, sometimes maybe Tony's jokes do cross that line, you know, where it's no longer funny and it does seem like you're punching down.
The N-word section is probably where I felt the special got laziest.
I've never said the N-word before on stage. It's a naughty word, I know. And I know what you're thinking. I would never say that, but if you hurt yourself, you should try. And I know what you guys say. I know your go-tos. I've studied this. You go, fuck, shit, motherfucker. I know all the go-tos because it's all naughty words. Because the naughtier the word, the more you distract yourself from the pain. And I'm here to tell you the N-word is 98% instant pain relief. The naughtier the word, the more relief is brought. And the N-word is about as naughty as it gets. So, try it. Think of me when you do it.
So, to a crowd that's full of mostly white people, he's basically encouraging them to say the N-word if they stub their toe. I gotta be honest, guys. I gotta be honest, as a black individual, I don't really find that funny. You know, I do remember back in the days, Louis C.K. did an N-word joke as well. And I gotta be honest, I was much younger there. I did see some humor in it. Like I said, it's context. It's context. The way Louis C.K. kind of delivered that joke, I kind of understood the humor. And it wasn't punching down and it wasn't really using black people as the butt of the joke. But with this, with Tony Hinchcliffe, is basically just saying, if you stub your toe, say it. Because it feels so much better than saying, you know, fuck or whatever. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like it's a bit of a lazy, it's not even a joke. He's just talking normally. And then, you know, when you pair this with Tony Hinchcliffe's politics, you know, it's just a bit, But, you know, people are going to give him a pass because, you know, oh, it's comedy. This is Tony Hinchcliffe. That's what he does. I don't really see the humor in that. I don't really see the humor in it.
The immigration material was more interesting, even if I didn't always think it landed. Tony makes jokes about immigration, but he also admits that some stereotypes are not necessarily bad.
Where's my Mexican people at tonight, anyway? You guys are Mexican? I love it. What do you think the big stereotype about Mexican people is? You work hard. That's a good one. That's true. Hard workers, indeed.
That part at least had a bit more texture to it. Immigration is complicated. In America, border arguments and protests have helped fracture the country even more. In the UK, we see similar anger from working-class white people who feel ignored or threatened, with protests led by right-leaning figures like Tommy Robinson. So yes, people can feel scared about jobs, housing, wages, and their communities changing. But you also have to remember the immigrant may be escaping something far worse. That is the part I don't think Tony fully sits with. He lives in Texas, he is wealthy, and his comedy often treats these issues like culture war material more than human reality.
Thousands of years from now, historians are going to look back at all the different documents signed by all the different presidents, and somebody's going to be like, this guy seems more important than the other guys. He's got a thicker font. You never saw that with Biden. You never saw Biden sign a goddamn thing. If you did, there'd have to be a hand that came out from under the desk and grabbed his wrist.
The thing is, you know, a lot of people were going in on Biden. He was falling on the ground. He was stuttering repeatedly. But of course, now if you look at Trump, you're seeing some kind of similarities there. Constant videos of him like falling asleep. His skin is not as healthy. Some of the things he says are absolutely batshit crazy.
So if the joke is just old man losing it, that joke is starting to apply across the aisle. Overall, I'd give Man of the People about a 4 or 5 out of 10. It's not terrible. It has moments. Tony is comfortable on stage, he knows his audience, and his fans will probably enjoy seeing him address the things people say about him. But it does feel like he is going through the motions. For a comedian with this much controversy around him, the special is not as dangerous, sharp, or entertaining as it probably needed to be.